favorite maps. In fact, the only team that they've lost it to in recent history, i.e. in 2025, FURIA. Again, the only team they tend to lose to. So those first two maps for me look very heavy.
W7M will win. We might as well not even play the game.
Fair play. Well, someone's got to climb the ladder and someone has to kick them off it in the process. So, gentlemen, have fun.
First place is going up against the team that is in 6th place. That's the top of the playoff bracket versus the bottom of the playoff bracket. Not common that we see this happen.
That they're down here. Going for a consulate pick is going to make things difficult in this first quarter, the first half. I'd like to see them try to get a couple of rounds. They will get the opening pick, finding Loban down here on the bottom floor. So this is done for. That smoke position is going to deny any plant that you try to go for, but they've just jumped right in. They don't seem to know he's here, Parker. This could be a disaster.
He's been waiting his time, biding his time so patiently. Volps jumps up, gets the kill. How does he fly under the radar there? Traded out on Repel by Hornet. Diffuser has been dropped, so the job, the accomplishment that was needed from W7M has now been done. Everybody else on the side of W7M, though, seems completely blind. They get killed from angles they're not even looking. Now as Machina hunts for what could be his second first blood. Ruben is just out of arm's reach, but a swing from Machina ends up working out very effectively. A huge game for Machina could honestly be enough to bolster the chances of Black Dragons up against a very tough foe. Things will not get better for this W7M team, by the way. Palu was turned around, and yet again, another engagement where they're not looking the right direction. Dot seems to have figured it out, though, Jesse. He takes down 2 players on Black Dragons. On the stairs, you had the DMR out of Musi, but he wasn't able to do too much. Flastry now will get swamped by these last 3 players in the final 50 seconds. His first engagement will be Volps on Spiral Stairs and gets swung. Its advances. He'll use both of his nades to try to clear an opening, maybe push some of these defenders around. They don't find much. Everybody's still alive with 40 seconds left. A swing from Rare will be the sound of the gun to start the execute. Odez off the board. He's yet to find a kill so far, Jesse. 10 seconds have been burned through. Loban will answer back. Flastry with one of his own. These teams just trading left and right. There's a job to be done here, though. You need to get that diffuser down. Only 2 players for W7M to hold this in place. Make that 1 as Volps will be all on his lonesome. Flash in the default plant spot, now followed up by the Deimos, and Flastry should get this kill. No!
Down to his final Candela as he is holding it in his hand. Will he let it fly? Rare's in the hallway nearby to try to make that rush in. We do see the striker coming in as well from Hornet. Here comes the push.
I'm really impressed with Black Dragon's ability to find these first bloods. I mean, it hasn't netted them a majority of the rounds so far. They trail, but at least there's some confidence in their ability to enter here. Half of the round to go, and 4 players, now 5 in the ground. W7M coming out ahead in that first brawl. Not just ahead, but leaving Machina, the guy who's usually responsible for the very first pick.
4 more still being held on him. Slowly bleeding out to just little bits of utility, and there hasn't been a huge follow-up. Hornet stuck his way through, but he does go down, and Volps 2 beautiful shots. Takes down Machina right afterward. They're on fire for W7M. Finally traded back on a Dodez, but Hornet still remains.
So many of these rounds, though, Jesse, have been W7M leading the way. I feel like that first round, with how incredibly strong Black Dragons looked, gave us a false impression of what Black Dragons could do on attack. W7M have been in full control every step of the way. Admittedly, Volp should not have won that 1v3, but it doesn't really matter. He still did. The scoreline is...
Dots might find this first kill, but Muzi seems to have a read. He's at least predicting there could be someone here. This would be a big pick, but Dots falls off with perfect timing. They're just playing the clock so well, Parker. Muzi moves back down, but doesn't have Kit, and there's still a guy above him.
He's gone. Who's this prolonging the final match? So you're absolutely right. These teams have had some time to do some real wood shedding and sharpen their steel, so to speak. W7M on the board first this round, and it will continue to go very well in their favor. They have lost Loban as he bleeds out on the ground, but he's still retrievable. Swinging now from Flastry as the guns from Black Dragons come alive. Maybe a bit too quick. Down goes Palu, so hold on a second here. This is very winnable. Now it's all up to Dodez. Black Dragons have found themselves in an enviable spot, and Musi will have a terrific round. 4-2, and that's what we'll roll with. Side swap coming in, and now time for these teams to remove 4 ops.
Listen, it wasn't pretty through from W7M. Other options would be the Mira, maybe the Warden, maybe the Valkyrie. There's a lot of good defenders that you can ban on Consulate. You got to take a choice. Will be Monty and it's only one player on site. If Rare goes down, then this could be a free bomb site for Volps to get the plant down. Obviously, every plant on this site can get denied from above, so you got to watch out for that. And there's that vertical pressure. Flashery opens things up with a great pick on Adonis.
Well, W7M experiencing what is a bit of a tough gambit here on Consulate. They answer back very quickly. Rare and Hornet are both removed. Rare was one of those players that was highlighted by the desk for being a top-rated player on the side of Black Dragons. It's rough to lose him so early. Musi last man standing now, and this defense from Black Dragons has completely fallen apart. This is eerily reminiscent of round one of the first half. W7M obviously showing some struggles to settle in as defenders to start this match. Now it's Black Dragons doing the same thing on the second side. Musi tossed out a Nitro Cell as Diffuser was going down. Volps had to stop, but for a moment, as Pauly will now go for coverage. Musi is in a very winnable situation, but he's lost a lot of HP. Out comes the SMG-12 as he dances around the door frame. He was just buying time.
That utility, then they're actually in a really good spot to go for this execute, because usually to stop a CEO window, you need something like a smoke.
Nice plays by Black Dragons. W7M were just caught with their pants down over by the windows on rappel, and they have lost everything except for Volps and Palu, who admittedly are both terrific players, but very little's been done to Black Dragons at this point. Flastry's walking with a little bit of damage. Palu will now head over towards Yellow Stairs in a battle directly against Rare, which he loses, leaving Volps as the last man for W7M, still outside the building. Volps on top of that skylight looking at Yellow Stairs, just a couple floors above where Palu expired. Volps will head over towards the admin side, but with 40 seconds left and he's in a 1v5, I don't suspect we'll see very much from W7M. At least he's got the courage to go after them all. He could have called a timeout on the rooftop. But I mean, there's just no way. There's no way Volps is going to pick up all 5 of these kills. Flawless round for Black Dragons is far more likely, as they only need a single player remaining on the side of W7M. They found each. Shadows remain on high. Everything else low. You'll thank me later.
Sweat stats.
Sorry?
You got the sweat stats. You don't care how the game looks?
No, I want performance. I'm not playing this game to watch a movie. I'm playing this game to try to be the best. I'm 35 years old, Jesse. I couldn't hit water if I fell out of a boat. Akina's the only person dead so far on the side of Black Dragons. They are having a great time on this second half with getting these first picks. Lobin will also die on the side of W7M, so Black Dragons doubling up on numbers. Others will say no thanks, but he's going to be last alive. Palu taken out in the basement. Dota pause as the last wave of operator bans for the second half come in. Don't know if timeouts will be called. I don't know if we're getting to that point just yet. Nice play by Dotas to eliminate Musi. That was an isolated engagement, and there's no follow-up. Death marks will go out, and this time it's Rare who he'll hunt down Jesse.
Might be doable low-key. I mean, he has Diffuse Kit too, so he can force a plant if one of these players tries to rotate back, but he needs a pick before he can do anything regarding the Diffuse Kit.
Nitro Cell goes off. Statistically, the 2 best players on the side of Black Dragons still remaining. They'll both compete for kills, but they're being awfully patient because they know neither of them need to fire a single bullet to win this round. If Dotas cannot get into the site to play a diffuser, he can still win. 7 seconds left. Rare will be hunted down. Sidearm is out. Deimos is looking for the final kill. The castle trying to keep away. Rare wins the fight, but it was an awfully close one. My goodness.
So that they hopefully can reformat that. It's a full site rotation coming out from Black Dragons where they only lost that first.
Not a lot of time for W7M to switch things up.
Gotta find some way to make this happen. They do have Sens walls as well, but they continue to struggle with Hornet, who's just playing the shotgun. They've got Volps as well, trying to take this gunfight, but also downed. That's Diffuse Kit too, Parker. He might just get all of them.
A one-man show at the moment is now with the shotgun out. He will try to quick peek Palu, fail in the process. Dotas and Palu are the last ones standing. Black Dragons doubled up. Like a familiar circumstance that W7M finds themselves in, and not a good circumstance at all. ROU from Sens will go out. Dotas and Palu now ever closer to the bomb site, but Rare is there to gun them both down. It was near perfect, but sometimes things need to be refreshed. They are far from the only org that has changed things up with the way that
Ball is so annoying to push through, Parker. We saw Black Dragon struggling with their own attacks. The Sens wall can help cut off an angle from reception. So top spiral, if those players are in that direction, this can kind of help get you past. But now with the Sens dying to Muzi, that's no longer going to be an option for you, and that Sens wall will fall. So it comes down to the final 3 players.
And the advantage goes back in favor of Black Dragons. Blaster having his hands full of top Visa, meeting the Blackbeard head on and suffering through it before the gas can even go off. 3v3 with little under a minute to go. Plenty of time for both of these teams. No real advantage here. Palu will increase the chances of W7M winning the round now as down goes Muzi. Team leading Rare will have to pick up some of the slack. He starts by gunning down Loban. Dots is on low HP as now Hornet will loop around. Diffuser will continue to chick away. It's going to be a standoff. Palu taking matters into his own hands. Very aggressive on that position. And now Rare will be on a collision course with the Capitao of Palu outside on the balcony. No real information for Rare. Palu can sit tightly against the wall and Rare will swing and get finished off by Palu. Third round, yeah, maybe you can make a daring play. Not really here. You make a daring play, it doesn't work out. That could be defeat. So teams will take their time. Rare on the board first. Black Dragons striking exactly how they need. Makina's been dropped though, and now Volps will get the follow-up. Loban was looking for more over inside a piano, but the stead at the moment from Hornetau is working out. Dota's finishing off Rare. That's the big bad on the side of Black Dragons. No more. Palu is down, so the count now favoring Black Dragons by 1. Swing from Muzi as Dodes is doing his best. He's got Volps side by side. I don't know if Palu is retrievable. Flastry and Volps will now be on a collision course. The mirror dropped. But just like that, Black Dragons will get the final 2 kills. Send us to overtime. It was in the blink of an eye.
That's Dodes with an air jab. They need to find some way to get past this clash so they can go for a plant. But so far, they found no luck.
Another air jab will go out. Loban taking down Rare. W7M have not been very proficient at finding these first frags. Black Dragons leading the way in opening duels. They have chased W7M for most of this match, and what a terrible time for the defenders to fall apart. W7M cutting through this defense so swiftly. Very little damage has been done in a flawless round. My God, a quick one. Mark failed. Dots has been down, so a 4v4 effectively, unless Dots can be retrieved. Still 2 gas canisters in pocket for Dots. He's been picked back up. Dodes will find his second kill. Black Dragons get on the board seconds later as Dodes will only have 2 for his trouble. But Volps fires away, gives the lead back to W7M. Excellent position for these defenders as they look to close out map 1 and steal it away from Black Dragons. BD will have their hands full on border as Jesse, we are a single kill away from Black Dragons losing their map. W7M conquer them on the final round of overtime. And I say,
and he can be the guy. And yeah, he is phenomenal, as you can see. Had a huge KD. And like you say, he's not the one for the entry. That's generally going to be your Lobins and your Palus of this world. But he is the guy that can come up with massive kills when necessary.
And once again,
here
you
stand
see,
out to you, Leo.
Yeah. Once again, you see the same. I think topic for Black Dragons. You see the support player being the one that's the top rated, especially the one that was playing by Bird, and you saw the entries. Oh, sorry, the fraggers.
about border, do you think there's any saving grace for Black Dragons as we load into the map?
Well, the one positive that I'll say for BD is they should know what to do this map. That's how a lot of teams like to play this map. And I think especially when you're going against a team that they believe they can outgun skill.
Period of time doesn't make the defenses more predictable, but it at least allows you to be a bit quicker with where you go to attack and where you assemble your forces. Otis was in for a bit of a problem there, a bit of
Loban's position as he's kind of still playing around this 90 hallway where he's been so important, and this one door is going to be so tough to get through. But with Hornet hitting shots like that, it does start to open things up. This has been massive. Now a freebie for Loban as Rare's just in, and I mean he might not be done, Parker. Yes, he is.
Just said that Palu's one of those players who's last alive, batting cleanup, as some would say. Well, he's got an awful lot to clean up at this current point in time as there's a mess happening inside the server. Palu gets one almost a second on Hornet. W7M to get themselves out of. Planted over by Sandwich right now. The upside down repel being held by Hornetau. watching this angle. Machina kills Volps. W7M are just losing out on time here. I understand that there's reluctance, but you've got to get going. I don't really think there's much hope as Machina finds kill number 2, and we're at the point of no return. Black Dragons will win the round just based on the clock alone. Dodez nowhere close. Down below, he cuts one of them off the wire, but that is literally all she wrote on that round. Rounds is not a great tally at the moment for W7M, but the ability to take down Hornet is great. They'll swing again, they'll get Machina, so everything is going okay for them until Musi punishes Dots and sets the advantage the W7M had down by 1, and they'll regain that same position now.
Within arm's reach, too. He knows where it is, can go pick it up. Very much aware of this player position. Grabs the kit now in the 1v4 as his teammate does go down. Likely to lose this gunfight. Volt on peaks. We didn't get a whole lot of aggression coming through. Maybe just thinking that it would be a little bit too obvious. They play their first 2 rounds completely out of Ash charges. So unless they can hit this with the Habana pellet, this window will stay up likely the entire round.
Nitrocell will go. Some adrenal surge coursing through their veins. Only one will be good enough, though, as Hornet, the Finca, is taken out of action. Missed opportunity from Loban to swing on over. Flastry dies, though, so it was a joint effort. They sent up the stairs, and Machina greeted by Volps. Now Musi's on the ground, and Rare finds himself in a 1v5 with Black Dragons now about to lose their lead. A flawless round will be denied as Rare hits the fadeaway shot on the next 2 rounds. Obviously, the win condition for Black Dragons will be to run up the score on this first half. They should be able to pull it off if they drop the lead, which they are just about to do, and it will happen as Volps ties things up with that final.
Bring another relatively new lineup to this bomb site.
Ooh, nice shot by Hornet onto Palu. I don't know if Palu was expecting that one to happen in the first to go. Palu's gadgets will persist. Those mute jammers that were put down will continue to block signals and gadgets. No Nitro Cell on his side, though. Loban will die now, too. As down in numbers, W7M will now retreat to the bomb site on the bottom floor.
Still looking at Dodez up above, but it is Dots, I should say, that finds the entry pick onto Machina, equalizing back to a 3v3. That feels quite nice for him. Caught on a Lion charge. Dodez, the only person not caught by Lion, actually, but he's the one being hunted. Hits a beautiful shot, maybe for 2 as well. He sees Musi just inside of Archives, but doesn't win the fight. Thankfully, traded out by the veteran on Black Dragons, whittling down to a 2v.
Vector from such a great amount of range. You can easily crouch walk your way through the lobby to find some safe passage over towards the bomb site. A flank now comes in, and Volps hits the 2-piece to give W7M the lead. We're back in it, and perfect time for us to see a side swap. Confused here, so we are getting word that a round was given to Black Dragons because a common situation that's happened across all regions for a number of years now, actually, where players will just say, oh, drone bug rehost, and then will just leave on their own without the admins agreeing. There's usually been very little pushback from the admins, so a rule that has been in the rulebook for quite some time is not just being enforced, but being enforced very properly, it would seem like. If you're W7M, especially if you're a player like Volps, who, you know, you can't really pin the entire blame on him, but I mean, it was his actions that ultimately led to the round forfeiture for W7M. You got to be a little frustrated. And I mean, we had a bit of a delay, and you immediately queue into a
as that seems to be the case.
Dots on very little HP, but he will stick the landing. Diffuser gets planted again. All 10 players alive. The second time here on this map that will happen. Only casualty at this current point in time is Volps, who currently sits at 0-2 and will be a player that we keep a very close eye on for the remainder of this map. And if it goes sideways for Black Dragons, the remainder of the series, which will conclude on bank. Time continuing to go down. Multiple players now sitting on that case. Musi, first one to die. Rare will go down as well. Loban taking no prisoners. A terrific Rare missed an opportunity to take down Dodez. Loban's been dropped as well, so 2 dominoes have toppled over. Dots finished off, and my god, Black Dragons are punishing these players from W7M. Dodez the only one on the board as Volps helpless, bleeding out. There will be no way to pull him back from the dead, so it will be on the shoulders of the 2 remaining players of W7M. Black Dragons doubling up. Yet again, a very familiar spot for when Black Dragons starts to win the round.
It's crazy. He was outside the building, and I thought they could have been able to rotate somebody out to pick him up, but doesn't happen, so now it's a 2v4. They're trying to group up, and there's a freebie for Dodez. Unfortunately, he'll need the last 3 all by himself, and they don't know where he is. 1 HP and doesn't get the job done. Big kill from Flash Days in the late round. Him going down early is often even worse for W7M. The fact that all of his deaths have...
Monty is available, so this is an intriguing choice, Jesse. Volps is in the bomb site with Case in hand at the halfway point, taking some damage from the fire. He manages to get the diffuser down right as he dies, but W7M literally kills everybody. What a baffle. You're going to take more damage from Goyo canister popping. Volps still without a kill since the quote-unquote incident to TM. Dodez dies as he gets a little bit confused. There's an F0 outside by Flastry. I would be mad as well, Dodez, and the leadoff pick goes to Black Dragons in similar circumstances to what we had in map number 1. 5-5 half. One of these teams will move to match point. W7M could even move to series point if they find...
was just kind of taking gunfights with the SMG. I'm sure there is a strategy behind it, but I haven't really seen it so far on these defenses. Doesn't seem to matter. His teammates are getting massive picks. There's Hornet with the next pick onto Lobin, so that's going to be really doing a good job of walking down this top floor. They're still trying to fight it on W7M. One's walking up metal, too, and that's going to be Volps hunting for a pick. Might get a freebie, but caught in the crossfire instead, Parker. That's tough.
That's actions of his teammates. The Clash shield still slows you, even though the Clash is long dead. He's still getting shocked from up on the balcony. This is a miserable experience. A huge round from Hornet.
To be honest, no reason to play him unless your primary objectives
you
are...
need to.
Yeah, pretty much. Rushing down Muzi.
Muzi will take some damage as he looks for safe harbor inside of armor. He finds it. Palu gets dropped by Flastry. It's a very bold time for the second map in a row will emerge. That's a tough one for the defenders. Rare gets baited out by Machina. Machina had pulled trigger a little bit too early. Rare's punished for it, and now Machina is able to get away. The right call from Black Dragons. Assemble over toward the bomb site. Flastry dropped. Muzi and Machina have completely circled around. A nice play by Machina, but he'll only find one. So Muzi will have to ascend upstairs, stare down those players as 30 seconds remain on the clock. Dot's holding on to the diffuser. Now attempting a plant. Muzi will fish for the location. Firing away through the floor, but gunned down by...
Back. That means the position's known, though. Somebody on Black Dragon still needs to make a play to equalize the numbers.
It's not working. Lobin having a terrific set of rounds now as he just continues to age like a fine wine. They get their own flawless round back.
Got one for his squad now, and they start to set up over around security. Dots has moved straight into the corner, though. This might not be a position that gets read. If he has a big impact, this could completely turn the game on its head.
Heard Machina doing some buck work. Down one Hornet Town. Dots on the ground. Has to ensure that his play against Flastry goes unseen for the time being. All who trying to chase them off is W7M are counting entirely on this play from Dots, and he will get it onto Flastry, immediately popping up, looking for an answer over towards Break Room, but there's no follow-up at the moment. Machina's reign of terror continues in this round. They're outnumbered on the side of W7M, but Volp says not today. Back to a 2v2 footing. Time running out for Black Dragons. They need to retrieve the diffuser or go for picks. They do not have enough time to do both, so they'll have to choose. Machina's dropped, and it's all up to Muzi. A tremendously experienced player, but experience doesn't win you rounds. Bullets do, and Dots will teach him that. W7M prevail with a 2-0 scoreline.
Because they overcome obstacles time and time again. It builds synergy. It builds, I guess, deep connections in the team to try and you know, play in overtime and manage. So I actually think it could be a strength to have pushed them all the way to overtime so that they can learn more and build this cohesion within the team and appear stronger tomorrow.
Ultimately, W7M were also one of the teams that just didn't have that many overtime appearances. FaZe didn't have any overall, so they're the kings of being able to finish games in regulation if that ends up being the case. W7M over the regular state.